Inflation has been crazy, and that has definitely affected office chair pricing. I know it can be frustrating. Maybe you cannot find that diamond in the rough office chair you're looking for that $500 price point. This video is perfect for you. My 5 picks for the best office chairs under $500. The first chair on our list is going to be the Sidiz T50, and we picked this thing up for $479 on Amazon. And I will say that this is probably the nicest looking chair in our list. Just from head to toe, everything on the chair flows together smoothly, really clean design. But when you get up close to the chair and start kind of inspecting it, using it, it is actually composed of quite a few lower end parts, specifically things like the headrest, arm pads, and then just the way that the chair feels when you're using the adjustments. It's not super smooth, and so definitely not a super high-end build, and I think that's probably confirmed with the warranty only being 3 years on the majority of the chair, and then 1 year of coverage on the upholstery and foam. I will say that overall it is a pretty comfortable chair. I found the seat to be very forgiving. It's large, doesn't have hard edges, and you're going to get a large seat height and seat depth adjustment range, so it should be able to be comfortable for most people. Similar aspect with the backrest. I like the tall design. The frame wasn't a problem. It's not super flexible, and I wasn't a huge fan of the lumbar support. It's a little bit pokey, but it is there, and it does have height adjustment if that's something that you're looking for. Now, a couple red flags that I did see with the chair. One, you're not allowed to return it if it's been assembled, so you really can't test this chair out and return it. And another thing that I noticed was a weird damage clause applying to scratches and damages to the chair. I wasn't really sure if this applied to shipping damage or warranty damage, but just something to think about. Next, we're going to look at the Hon Ignition 2.0, another very popular chair. This one was $380, also on Amazon. Now, first glance looking at the chair, doesn't quite have the same eye-catching appeal that the Sidiz T50 had, but I do feel it's probably a more well-built chair overall. It feels more solid. It also functions much smoother when using the chair, and I believe that's also confirmed by the warranty with 12 years of coverage on the majority of the chair, 5 years of coverage on the upholstery. The seat is large, no hard edges, very large depth range, very large height range, so it should fit most people. My one concern with the seat is I am not a huge fan of the foam. It does feel like it might be a little bit lower quality, so something that may bottom out quicker than you're anticipating, but I do really like the backrest. It's super flexible. The mesh gives when you sit in it. It's supportive, even though it's a little bit lower quality. Overall, I like the curve. I like the way that you have a lot of freedom of movement. The lumbar support doesn't really do too much. I don't really feel it, to be honest. So if you're looking for really pronounced lumbar support, this might not be the best chair for you, but overall, I do like the backrest a lot. It's got a nice recline function, smooth synchro tilt with multiple locking positions. One thing to consider is that the arms aren't the greatest on this chair, with only height adjustment and middle of the road comfort, something to consider. The OfficeMaster Affirm is the next chair on our list, and the biggest highlight with this chair is just going to be the overall customization available with it, especially at the price point. So you can change almost everything on the chair, from the casters to the cylinder to the seat dimensions, back dimensions, add different arms, different functions. So you can really do almost anything you want with the chair. My personal favorite way to configure the chair would be with the management synchro tilt mechanism, and then the most adjustable arm package that we offer, which still keeps the price under $500, which is why I have it on the list for you. Now, this isn't going to be a high-end build in terms of quality, but it's going to be more middle of the road, similar to the Hon chair we just looked at, backed by a 12-year warranty, 5 years of coverage on the casters, foam, and upholstery. One thing that I will say about the build is because the chair is so customizable and because it accepts so many different variations of parts, it can have the problem of being a little bit wiggly and not feeling super solid in areas like the armrests or the backrest. One of the biggest highlights of the Affirm is going to be its seat. It has a very spacious design and nice thick padding, which is one of the biggest reasons people buy the Affirm chair. Now, I will say that at first glance, it looks like a pretty plush seat that you'd sink into, kind of like a lazy boy. It's not going to be that soft. It's still going to have some firmness to it, but definitely softer and thicker than a lot of chairs that we see with this type of design. You're going to get a mesh back with the Affirm with a ratchet back height adjustment, allowing you to kind of line up the lumbar support in the most comfortable area. But the biggest downside with the Affirm in terms of its back support is that it doesn't have an additional lumbar support system. So if that's something that you need, unfortunately, you're going to have to cross this off your list. I do like the arm packages though that are available on the Affirm, especially the 4-way arms, giving you depth, height, width, and pivot adjustment, as well as a nice soft arm cap, making them very comfortable, especially for the price. The next chair up is going to be the Steelcase Series 1, which is currently priced at $493 when fully loaded with all of the functions, while keeping the basic upholstery and finish options. From a build quality standpoint, it's definitely going to be one of the most well-built chairs we're going to look at here today. Most of the components feel like they're good quality, the chair feels solid, and it's also backed by a really, really good 12-year warranty on everything on the chair, with the exception of EMEA. Unfortunately, they've reduced the warranty to 5 years if you're in Europe, Middle East, or Africa. From a sizing standpoint, I will say that this is a better chair for smaller, shorter individuals. If you're over that 5'10" mark, then it might be a problem just because the backrest height may not be tall enough to support you, and it may end up hitting you in your shoulders or middle of your back, which can be uncomfortable. The seat is going to be a very basic design, typical thin seat pad from Steelcase, but I did find it to be pretty comfortable while using it, even though it is more firm than most seats that you will use. It does have seat depth and seat height adjustment, allowing you to dial in that positioning. I will say that the backrest is pretty comfortable if you fit in the chair. If you don't fit in the chair, the frame is going to be very annoying, very comfortable, but I did find the mesh to be supportive. It does give with you when you sit in the chair. I'm not a huge fan of the lumbar support though. It doesn't feel like it does a ton, but you do get height adjustment with it, so it is a little bit of addition if you need some customizability there. You're going to get the most adjustable arms out of all of the chairs that we're looking at on the Series 1. Unfortunately, you're not going to get the best arm caps though, just because they do have a hard plastic outer edge. And another thing that I'm not a huge fan of on the Series 1 is just the overall recline function. You do have a couple settings to choose from, but it's more of a kind of a hip thrusty ergonomic design, whereas I prefer more of kind of a synchro tilt rocking motion. And our number one pick for the best chair under $500 is going to be the Haworth Soji. Now, you kind of have to configure it in a specialized way to get it under $500. You have to choose a quick ship model and then a couple specific fabrics. And unfortunately, you're going to miss out on getting it fully loaded with the forward tilt option. But I don't think that's a great adjustment anyways. And I do feel this is the best bang for your buck for under $500, which is why we've got it on our list. It's certainly the most well-built chair, in my opinion, out of the chairs that we're featuring here. All of the components feel good quality. The chair feels really solid, certainly built to last, and backed by a really nice 12-year warranty covering the majority of the chair, with the only exception being the upholstery, giving you 5 years of coverage there. I like the recline function, just a basic synchro tilt recline, but it's very smooth. You have a very responsive tension control, and you can lock it in that upright position if you want to work in a more tasking forward application. I like the armrests because you get 4-way adjustment, and the adjustments are all very large in ranges, and the arm caps themselves are pretty comfortable. They're soft. My only gripe is that they do kind of have a hard edge to them, but a lot of people in our office actually like this design, so that's kind of just going to be a preference thing. When looking at the back, I think the backrest is pretty comfortable. It's got a mesh design. The mesh isn't super high quality, not the softest mesh to the touch, but it does give and kind of form fit to you, and the backrest does have some flexibility to it. And I also like the lumbar support on this. You get a really massive height adjustment range, and it's not one of those lumbar adjustment systems that just kind of pokes into your back. It actually feels supportive. I will say that it's not going to be a super pronounced system though, if that's something that you're looking for. The seat is a very well-rounded design, good seat depth, seat height adjustment range. It's going to be more on the firm side, but I did find it to be supportive throughout the entire time that I used the chair, and it's a very open, spacious design, so you can use it in a wide variety of applications. If you're looking to save a little bit of money on your office chair, check out our list of the best chairs under $300.